I am so excited that you could all join us today in this monumental day. My name is Donna Flora. I'm a member of Carter Bank and Trust with the marketing department. And again, thank you for coming. It's my pleasure to be able to announce Lorinda Gibbs. She is an ambassador with the Smith Mountain Lake Regional Chamber of Commerce. Also, a member of the Carter Bank and Trust family. She's the manager of the Westlake branch. So she's going to start us off with a few comments, and then we'll have the ribbon cutting, and then we'll enjoy each other's company. And again, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, wow, thank you all for coming. This is a great turnout. As she said, I'm Lorinda. I am an ambassador with the Smith Mountain Lake Regional Chamber of Commerce. Have been an ambassador probably since about 2007, I'd say, so a pretty good while. And I have been managing the Westlake office for about 12 years now. So I do have the pleasure of working for this great organization. On this day in 1974, this branch was opened as First National Bank of Rocky Mount. And throughout the years, our founder, Mr. Carter, actually created 10 additional banks under different names. Some of the names you may be familiar with are Patriot Bank, Shenandoah Banks, First National Exchange Bank, just to name a few. Then in 2006, he combined them all into one name, and that's when we became Carter Bank and Trust. So to get us started, I did see a couple local dignitaries that I'd like to recognize that are here. Sheriff Overton, I see that he's here, and Matt Hankins with the town of Rocky Mount. Anyone else that I missed that I didn't see coming in? Okay. Again, thank you all for coming, and I would like to introduce Brandy, who is the branch manager of this office.
Much for coming out today to celebrate this special occasion with us. As Lorinda said, I'm Brandy McKenzie, the branch manager here at the Rocky Mount office. I'd like to take a second to talk a little bit about the history of the bank. Excuse my nerves. 43 years ago to the day, on December 13th, 1974, we showcased our very first branch here on the street, on the corner of Franklin and College Streets. Many of you may recall, prior to us, the facility was Rocky Mount Motors. A lot has happened over the last 43 years with our bank, but the one thing that remains the same is our commitment to offer exceptional public service. Quoting our founder, Worth Harris Carter Jr., from a Roanoke Times article in 1983, banks are merely in business to serve the public. If we do this well and better than our competition, success will follow. We have gifts, door prizes, and refreshments. And if you open a new account today while supplies last, you'll get one of these LED ornaments that say Carter Bank Trust, and they light up. They're very pretty. As a token of our appreciation. The intent of our renovations is to enhance the customer experience. Today's celebration is to thank all of our community for being loyal to us for all of the years. Here at this branch, we have 17 employees. When I call your name, just raise your hand to be recognized. We have our tellers. We have Patricia Spencer over here, Sheila Brown, Lauren Ashwell, Aaron Perlman, Joyce Formette, Hannah Dowdy, and a couple others that are not here with us today. Customer service representatives, we have Jessica Scow, Barb McGill, and Sandra Lester. We also have our retail lenders, Justin Woldridge, wherever you are, Jane Caldell, way back there in the back, and then our Vice President and Regional Manager, Rhonda James. There she is. And Vice President and Retail Lender Manager, Dan Johnson, back there in the back. And their assistant, Mary Priest, right there. And last but not least, I would like to recognize Worth Carter III and Stan Foley, who coordinated our renovations. Please join me in a round of applause and thanking them for their great It really does look beautiful. I am the 6th branch manager in the last 43 years. I am honored to be in the company of exceptional managers who paved the way for me and my colleagues for professional success. All but two still work here today. My immediate predecessor, Justin Woodridge, Wes Furrow, who's now a stay-at-home dad, he's here somewhere, Rhonda James, and Dan Johnson. And before Dan was Diane Hall, our very first employee hired as branch manager in 1974. Diane retired in 2014 as Senior Vice President, and it gives me great pleasure to ask Diane Hall to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Brandon. Your nice introduction. I've had bronchitis, so I hope I can get through this. I would like you to know it was truly an honor to work with Worth Harris Carter Jr. and for First National, being a part of First National Bank of Rocky Mount. Our grand opening in 1974 was fantastic. It really was. We had a celebrity, Archie Campbell from Hee Haw, and we had the reigning Miss Virginia at the time. And we had customers and people that wanted to see the celebrities lined up all the way down the street. So it was something to see, you know, and it has been talked about by our customers and employees over the years. The difference between the two events then, the one, you know, in '74, we were celebrating a unique experience in banking for the community. And this open house today just celebrates the unique longevity of this organization. Rocky Mount was started, the Rocky Mount office was the start of the now Carter Bank and Trust, and we'd like to thank Franklin County for your continued loyalty. After working almost 40 years with the bank, I'm very proud to be remembered as the organization's very first employee. That's something Mr. Carter would bring up every meeting just about we had. There's Diane, our first employee, and he was always doing that. I don't know whether it was to embarrass me or what. Mr. Carter regarded all of us who worked hard, and he took pride in giving us advancements. If we worked for it, then we deserved it, and he would give it to us. I started out as a new customer service person and was able to work my way up to the Senior Vice President. Of the 8 employees that came to work on that particular day in 1974, 2 of them died before they left, 1 moved, and the other 5 retired from the bank. I think we have 4 of those here today. And this bank is still regarded as a performing branch for Carter Bank and Trust. That's about all I'm going to say because I know several other people want to talk, but the one person that can give us a great perspective of this organization is Mr. Sid Nixon. Sid is one of our original board members, and after 43 years, he's going to retire year-end, I believe. And I think he deserves that, and he deserves an applause. A good board director, but he has also been a good friend. Thank you, Sid.
December the 13th, 1974 was Friday the 13th. And a lot of us said, well, we can't open the bank on Friday the 13th. He said, watch me. In 1971, with the help of Marshall Flora, who was the Chamber of Commerce for Franklin County at that time. With his help, I started Virginia Apparel with limited money, but convinced that the manufacture of blue jeans, which was just beginning to be a fashion item, would be a good business. So we bought the little plant, which is now part of the school system. It belonged to N.W. Overalls of Lynchburg. Anyway, like a lot of new businesses, I wanted to expand real quickly. But the two banks here at the savings bank wouldn't loan me any money. I had become acquainted with Bill Frank in Martinsville, and I complained to Bill one day about wanting to expand, but couldn't get any money. He introduced me to Worth Carter, who at that time was the comptroller of Piedmont Trust Bank in Martinsville. And Worth became my bank. And one day I said to Worth, what does it take to start a bank because Rocky Mountain needs one. The two banks that are there came over on the ark with Noah. I said, if it doesn't take a lot of money and you don't have to be born in banking, I'd like to start a bank in Rocky Mountain. And Worth, with his coy deliberation, he said, what makes you think a bank would work in Rocky Mountain? And I said, well, one example, since I've been banking with you, my employees are having difficulty cashing their payroll checks because it's on a Martinsville bank. One of the banks would not cash them at all because that bank was mine before Worth, before I went to Martinsville with Worth. And all of this I could see penetrating Worth. He said, would you help me with a marketing survey to see if Rocky Mountain could support a third bank? He said, it'll cost us a little money, but I've got a friend in Richmond, Bill Parcells, who does marketing surveys. Anyway, the survey came back overwhelmingly in support of a third bank. And therein lies the beginning of First National Bank of Rocky Mountain. Worth was not only a very, very close friend, he was brilliant and one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. So he put together a team, and some of you will remember, I hope I can, there were 7 of us. Lord Oliver, who was the starter and president of Munchcraft, Bill Davis, an attorney, Butch Lynch, a doctor, Leo Scott, Ferrum, Walter Kingery, farmers,
Dan Ramsey.
Doc Ramsey.
Doc Ramsey, the Ford dealer, and at that time, organizing banks had to sell their stock themselves. They couldn't hire a Merrill Lynch or somebody like that to sell the stock. So Worth assigned each one of us so much stock that we had to sell at $10 a share, and a person could buy as little as 1 share. We didn't try to sell just one, but we had to raise $1,200,000 to get this bank started. That seemed like an atrocious amount of money, but we made it. And some of the people who bought 10 shares of stock in well, we were selling it in 73, but let's say they got it in 74, 10 shares, $100. Now it's worth over $10,000. So Worth knew what he was doing, and he did it. Some of the things that are significant about Worth is the originator nationwide of lifetime free checking. We had an organizational meeting upstairs one day, and we had a representative. Actually, he was examining how we were getting started. He was representing comptroller of the currency. And Worth said something about lifetime free checking. He said, you can't do that. You'll go bankrupt. There's no way a bank can survive with lifetime free checking. And Worth said, I'm going to show you. And the other thing that I'll never forget about Worth was Worth knew how to say thank you. And he knew how to be loyal to his employees. I never will forget that first Christmas in 1974. We were trying to celebrate Christmas, and we had moved the hams that Worth had ordered for all the employees. And today, every employee continues to get a ham for Christmas. I could go on, but Ken said 5 minutes is your But so many people that made this happen. But folks, there'll never be another Worth Carter. And every night, I thank my God for letting me be a friend of Worth Carter.
I don't think I can follow that. I'm Phyllis Karapatakis. I'm the current president of Carter Bank and Trust. And it's kind of funny, I sit here and look at where we are today. And in 1974, I was a senior in high school out here at Franklin County High School. And I was playing softball against Diane Hall. Time has flown by, but when I look back, I go, it's hard to believe, because a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have happened in those 43 years. But, and I won't take much time, I'll tell you a funny story though. In 1976, when I was in college, I was majoring in business, I had to do an economic development project. And was supposed to interview and talk to a new business and see the impact it has made on the community. Well, at that time, I decided to do First National Bank of Rocky Mount. Jim Hastings, who was the very first president of this bank, I called him and asked him could I interview him. And I said, you know, this bank was a new bank, had just been open a year and a half, and it was the first bank that had been opened in Franklin County since 1926. So I wanted to interview him and find out why. You know, why did you decide to open a bank here in Franklin County, and what is your successes? And Jim Hastings was a great person. He sat down, took all the time in the world, and he told me, you know, what he and Mr. Carter had dreamed of, what they wanted to see, and what they expected, and then told me what they experienced on that first day they were open. It was phenomenal. It was just a great, great lesson to hear from, you know, his vision of what they wanted, what they had, and then you come back today and look. 43 years ago, Carter Bank and Trust, what it is today, the very first office opened here. Now, currently, we have over 100 branches. We're over $4.2 billion in size. We're the second largest bank headquartered in Virginia. It all started right here. I mean, that is just phenomenal.
I've been very fortunate. After that interview in 1976, Mr. Carter hired me in 1978 when I graduated from college. So I've been here 40 years. Like I said, time flies fast. But again, working with Mr. Carter and seeing his vision of what he wanted to do, how these banks were to grow. In Virginia, banks couldn't branch more than 12 miles. So his idea of how to grow this organization, he had to start new banks. And Lorinda mentioned that earlier. So over time, in different counties, Franklin County, Martinsville, Henry County, Floyd County, he opened brand new banks. That's how we got to be able to expand, because Virginia law wouldn't allow it. Then in, I think, 1998, he decided to take those 5 banks he started and split them, because we were growing, and create 10 banks. Again, that was able to allow us to expand, to build shareholder value, to add more products for customers that needed products like Mr. Carter started. In 2006, regulatory rules, burden that came upon us really required us to consolidate the banks, because we were doing 10 of everything. So it made sense to then take those 10 banks and bring them together as one bank, and we did, and formed Carter Bank and Trust. And to honor Mr. Carter, all of the boards, I went to those board meetings back then, we was trying to think of a name. What are we going to call this new bank as we put it together? And every board of directors said, Mr. Carter, we wouldn't be here without you. These banks wouldn't be here without you. We want to name this bank Carter Bank and Trust after you. Mr. Carter's a very humble man. He kind of resisted. The board said, no, we're in charge. We're naming this bank Carter Bank and Trust and honor him. So I'm very proud, again, to be here and honor him, honor his vision and what he has done. We're getting ready to do a new phase and transaction as we go forward, and that is we've remodeled these offices. We're investing in our infrastructure that we have. We know in order to compete and be successful, we need more products, we need to have more technology, and we're investing in that. So I'm excited for the future of Carter Bank and Trust, because our intention is to provide more service to our customers, to provide and enhance shareholder value. So I'll stop, let our CEO, Litz Van Dyke, who just joined us, he became CEO when Mr. Carter passed, but Litz joined us, has lots of community bank experience. He believes in community banking. He wants to see this community bank continue to grow and carry on Mr. Carter's legacy. So I want Litz to say a few words.
Thanks, Phyllis. First of all, let me add my thanks for you being here. The fact that you're here means that you care about this bank, and so that means a lot to us. So thank you for being here and sharing this pretty historic moment for this company, and a pretty historic moment for this community, I think. Sid, thank you for your comments. We will miss you on the board. We'll miss your good counsel, your quick wit, but most of all, we'll miss your friendship. But we'll keep in touch. We'll have online banking for you next year. It's an inside joke. That beautiful ball, whoever didn't get that one. But there's an inside joke. Sid has been on our technology group about online banking. And when we first started this project, we were talking about an August 1st conversion. We moved it back some, but Sid was, one day our CIO was saying, August 1st, and Sid said, if I don't have online banking August 1st, you're going to hear from me. So Sid, we're working on it. It'll be soon thereafter. But thank you for being here everywhere, and Sid, thank you for your 43 years. Actually, hearing you today, it's more like 45, right?
Right.
So thank you for that. We are here to honor this renovation, but most importantly, we're here to honor Worth Carter, his vision in this bank, and how we will continue that legacy. We've got some of our directors here today. I want to make sure I introduce them. Our current chairman, Jim Haskins. Just raise your hand back there, and I don't want to miss anybody. J.E. Pigg, Warren Matthews, Randy Kyle, I saw you. Randy, where are you? Somewhere back there. Bobby Connor back there. Mary Alice Ramsey, one of our former directors, is here.
She had to leave.
Oh, she had to leave, that's right, she had to leave. So anyway, thank you all. I didn't miss anybody. Nobody snuck in on me, did they? Thank you all for being here. Well, before I forget to, let me thank Kim Atkins, Barbara, and Donna, the marketing team, for putting all this together. They did this last week. We did it last week in Lynchburg. Many of you might know we just renovated an office up in Lynchburg too, so they've done a nice job. So let's give them a hand. As Phyllis mentioned, we are investing in this company. We're investing in our communities. As I said, we had a ribbon cutting last week up in Lynchburg. We're cutting the ribbon here today, celebrating this renovation. Martinsville, our main office there in Martinsville, is under renovation. We're continuing to look for opportunities to upgrade our facilities and create enhance the customer experience in these offices. But let me tell you, we're not here because of the color of the tile or the color of the paint or the nice fixtures. That's not what's made this bank successful. What's made this bank successful is what goes on inside, and that's our people, taking care of customers, being kind, being attentive, and being responsive to customer needs. So we want to create a nice environment. We want to make sure that things are comfortable for our customers and our employees. But we want to make sure we don't lose sight of it's not the color of the paint, it's not the pretty buildings, it's what goes on inside. That's what this company, Worth Carter, built this company on people. He believed in that. When I first met Worth many months ago, we I think quickly learned that we were very different people, but we had a lot of the same values, and we believed in community banking and the value of that to the communities that we live in and that we serve. So I think that connection we had led to me joining this company. And let me just say that it's funny how life's tentacles reaches throughout our families and our communities. Diane and I happened to sit beside one another at the funeral, at Worth's funeral. And we talked and we realized that Diane was his first employee that Worth hired. I was the last employee that he hired. The other thing I'll tell you is, again, the small world we live in. I'm talking to Matt Hankins back there, and I just happened to mention that I grew up in Tazewell County. And Matt says, well, I grew up in Tazewell County. I said, where in Tazewell County? He said, Dry Fork. I said, no. My mother grew up in Dry Fork. Now, Dry Fork, those of you that don't know, you don't go there by accident. and you do not pause, or you have to pause or you'll miss Dry Fork. But it's a wonderful place with wonderful people. And my mother's old home place is still there. Matt knew exactly, and actually went to the elementary school that my grandmother taught at. So it's a small world we live in. But what my point is that that's what connects us as people, right? It's things like that that make us who we are. It's things like that that create the fabric of what this company is. It's those connections. So I really appreciate you being here today. We are investing in Carter Bank and Trust. One of the things that in my last conversation with Worth was, I said, Worth, I know that we're doing some things probably not the way you would do it. And he said, yeah, you're right. And I said, but know one thing. What we do, everything we do, is to make this company stronger and better so we can continue to perpetuate this company. When I was hired, what he said to me was, let's reorganize so that the day I'm not here, the bank can continue. And I said, well, that's what we're trying to do. And he looked at me and said, I know. So I think that was the validation that I needed. And again, thank you for being here. 43 years is a long time. But we hope that, I don't know, I'll be here 43 years from now. But hopefully 43 years from now, we can celebrate some more. And thank you for being here. And enjoy the refreshments and mingle and
Want to count down? Help you with that. Everybody ready? And 3, 2, cut the ribbon.
And don't do it. Okay. All right. Introduce yourself. Hi, everybody. I know you've heard And a lot of history about this. I will say, I don't know about you, but listening to Sid, it was humbling. It brought a tear to my eye, just hearing about how this all started. I know through Lorenda, I know through Phyllis, the business ethics that are exercised here, the people stay. I think that says a lot. I represent the business community, and I am so honored and proud to have Carter Bank as one of our chamber members. And we thank you for everything. You've done a marvelous job in pulling together the community. It really is about building relationships, and even today, there are people here that haven't met one another that are building relationships as a direct result of what Mr. Carter did. I sure wish that I had had a chance to meet him, and I just know, you're right, 43 years from now, you're still gonna be here, so. Thank you so much, and from the Chamber of Commerce, who I represent, Smith Mountain Lake Regional Chamber of Commerce, we appreciate everything that Carter Bank does in all of our businesses, and everyone for being here to help us celebrate.